What's going on, guys? It's Diablo JV. Today, me and Egghead got a banger for y'all. We sat down and worked tirelessly on this Google Doc of Marvel Rivals hero concept ideas that we have created. And today we're going to go through them. We're going to go through all the abilities that we chose. And we're going to give you a little bit of information on how we think these characters could fit into Marvel Rivals. If you could, drop a like, comment, and sub. I would greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright, so for my first idea, I have the Wasp as a strategist. We do have little bios for each of the characters. These are ripped straight from Wikipedia, I can't lie. I did not write these myself. I take no credit for it. But here's the Wasp bio. The Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, created by Stan Lee and Ernie Hart and Jack Kirby. The character first appeared in Damn. Fuck.
You gotta redo that, or
Yeah. Damn. Alright, so my first character that I went in the game is the Wasp as a strategist. We do have bios written for each character. They were ripped straight from Wikipedia, so if anything's wrong, please let us know in the comments. I did not write these personally. I just copy and pasted from Wikipedia so I can give you guys a little bit of information about them. Without further ado, the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, created by Stan Lee, Ernie Hart, Jack Kirby. The character first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 44 in June of 1963. She's usually depicted as having the ability to shrink to a height of several centimeters, fly by means of insectoid wings, and fire bioelectric energy blast. She is a founding member of the Avengers, which I did not know, and the one who gave them their name, as well as a longtime leader of the team. She is also the ex-wife of Hank Pym, otherwise known as the Ant-Man. So Wasp's primary fire, I have Wasp infuses her gauntlets in her suit with quantum energy and can fire off waves of healing that spread across multiple teammates. I think this would go in sort of a cone radius, so there is a chance that you'd be out of the heal zone. It's not like a typical Invis Woman or Cloak and Dagger where you can heal one at a time. It's really however many people can fit into this cone, and I'm sure it would spread across them and distribute evenly rather than heal them the same amount all at once. I think that would be pretty broken. And I did give her 6 ammo for this because of the fact that it can be a little broken depending on how they would use her in the game, depending if they would all get the same amount of heals or if it would be spread amongst them.
Okay, so is it like, yeah, that's my question, because otherwise 6 ammo is kind of not a lot, so I feel like, what's the reload time?
You know how Invis Woman's reload time is? Like, it's kind of really short. She kind of just moves her hands and she's back to it. I feel like it would be that. Or, like, she kind of, like, pops her gauntlets and, like, has to put a new cartridge in them, maybe? Since she's infusing them with quantum energy. Wasp's secondary fire is she fires a single skill shot ability that on contact either gives an anti-heal effect or reduces the amount of heals given to a target she hits. This is pretty straightforward. You get one crack at this before it's on a cooldown for, I would probably say, 10 to 15 seconds, because it is a great ability to have. Just a Caps diving your backline, you hit him with an anti-heal or reduce the amount of heals given to him. I think it could be very, very useful in stopping dive. I think it could be very useful in stopping flyers as well if you can hit that single skill shot ability. So like the primary fire is left click, and then your right click is the secondary fire with, it's just one shot ability. Kind of like how Namor's, like you throw Namor's tridents, and then if you right click, he spins. Yes, exactly like that. Next up we have Wasp's shift ability. She could shrink down for a short period of time to reposition and even recapture points, which I think is very cool. This ability is on a meter cooldown like Hulk's leap or Phoenix's flight ability. I think this is very cool because the little bit I know about Ant-Man and the Wasp, they are very stealthy. I mean, they can shrink down to the size of like, they can shrink down small enough to get between Iron Man's suit, and it's like a stealth mission. So I think it'd be very cool if she could be able to recapture the point while nobody's looking, maybe even C9, who knows. The only issue I do have with this ability is, like, she'd still have to be small enough to see and hit, but small enough to effectively move around. I don't know how that would work with the distance she would be traveling. I don't know if she would get like a super speed boost or what.
Yeah, this one's gonna be. I like the concept, but I feel like it's gonna be a nightmare for the dev.
I think what's more likely is that she'll have an escape ability as her shift, where she just shrinks down and backs up, or shrinks down and moves to whatever direction you're holding. I think that's more likely, and I like this ability better. Next up, we have Wasp's E ability. Wasp radiates a bioelectric field around her in a circle, pushing enemies away on activation of the ability. It stays up for 2 seconds and deals significant damage. It's just another way to stop dive. I think we need more strategists in the game who are able to deal with dive on their own rather than switching your whole team comp to play around it. I know that if you want to win, you will switch your team comp. I really think you might be able to like swap an invis out for a Wasp if you're getting super dove, and you'll be better off than you were before.
So you're treating it like an anti-dive, like kind of like Loki or Adam for that matter, like anti-dive support.
Yes. All right, and Wasp's ultimate ability. Wasp leaps into the air, or if already in the air from other abilities Shift or E, unleashes a huge AoE burst from her gauntlets that give an anti-heal effect. I really want to get out of the healer ultimates, like being constantly healed, and I feel like this is a huge way to do it. Wasp can counter other, like your strategist can counter other strategist ults. I feel like it's a good way to kind of balance out these huge strategist fights throughout the whole game, and trying to figure out like, oh, well, we have Cloak and Dagger ult and Invis ult up. What strategist ults do they have up? I'm getting really sick of the heal offs. I feel like it would involve a lot more skill play to strategists, because you have to maybe wait till Wasp use her ultimate before you can effectively use yours. I just think it's a good way to balance healers as a whole. I think they need a lot more counters. And lastly, I have her team ups, which is called Quantum Magic. Wasp gets a 5% healing boost, while Doctor Strange portals now travel through the quantum realm and deal tick damage to opposing players near the portal. Funnily enough, this team up comes purely out of spite, because after playing a match, I went right to this document, and at the end of that match, we Strange portal to point in a last ditch effort, and a Jeff was sitting under the portal with his ultimate and just swallowed us up as soon as we hopped through. That wasn't very fun to play against. That wasn't very fun at all. So this one may purely be out of spite and rage, but I do think it is an okay team up.
All right, so now we got my idea. I'm coming in with a Vanguard, so we got some Vanguard and strategist love today. God knows we need it in this game. I got the Man. First of all, I really love the way Absorbing Man looks, and I feel like all of his skins would be just fantastic in this game. The Marvel Rivals devs do not miss with the artwork. So the Absorbing Man, Carl Crusher Creel, created by writer Stan Lee and artist Jack Kirby. The character first appeared in Journey into Mystery, number 114. In the Silver Age of comic books, Carl Crusher Creel is a boxer and a criminal who becomes the Absorbing Man. Discovering that he can absorb the properties of anything that he touched, Creel escapes prison by absorbing guards' bullets and becoming the reoccurring enemy of Thor. That I thought would be really good for him is about 750. So Absorbing Man's primary fire is going to be basically just him swinging around a ball and chain. And then depending on the range, he's actually going to have either more damage at range, because he's swinging around a large object. I feel like it should do more damage. But the trade-off is whenever you're in close, he kind of just holds the ball in his hand and he punches with it. So, but the attacks there are going to be faster. Each attack does about 45 damage is what I'm thinking. And then whenever it's close to the enemy, the time to kill is reduced by 1 full second or so due to the faster attacks.
So I guess what I do have to add is, how would you work on switching between the ball and chain, like distancing and then punching in close? Is there like a certain range he gets within between enemies, or do you swap it like Punisher's AR and shotgun?
I'm thinking you swap it manually in case you don't want to do it.
That's what I thought.
I'm thinking kind of like how Blade switches between his sword and shotgun.
Okay.
Switch between holding the chain or holding the ball in the hand or swinging it around. Onto his E ability, he fully transmutates to his metal form for a damage reduction. Think like Emma Frost in her diamond form. Basically, same font, different colors. He gains 50 shield every time he deals damage in this form, able to stack up to 8 times, giving him 1,100 overall health. The downside being that his movement is going to be reduced by 5%, which is slightly more than other forms.
So in this form, would it just be punching? Would it still be a combination of the ball and chain? Because I feel like this can get very overpowered very quick if he, in a last-ditch effort, pops his E ability and then gains, what is it? 350 shield.
My idea would be that he just drops the chain, you know what I mean, and goes straight to fist. Because otherwise, I feel like it would be just really, if he has range on top of all this, I feel like that'd be crazy. Because that's kind of why the movement reduction is there, to kind of like, you know, balance it out. So next up, his shift ability. Absorbing Man transmutations can span to less stable atoms such as electricity, allowing him to escape damage for a split second. This would be similar to like how Phoenix can move, but I believe Phoenix has self-heal. This ability duration lasts 2 seconds. Cooldown is 10.
It's kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card.
No, but I mean, like, I feel like he would need it. I don't know. He might not. I feel like they don't give escape tools to the characters that are super good, because Mag's really good and Groot's really good. So if he's really good, I feel like they wouldn't need this ability. But I also put it in there because a lot of people don't know that Absorbing Man can absorb electricity and turn into that.
I didn't.
Yeah, I read up on his powers just to double check and make sure that this was like a canon event. So yeah, he can actually absorb electricity and turn into atoms and kind of split himself into you know, he could basically disperse himself. It would be really cool to add all kinds of like transmutation since, you know, that's his main ability.
Sure.
Alright, so his right-click ability is basically a whip shot. Think Brigitte from Overwatch, but as a tank, rather than a pseudo-tank. I think you can charge up this attack by holding right-click, so it's similar to like how Thor's shift can, you know, charge itself and then he goes further based on how far you charge it. I feel like that would be the same with like the range that he throws the ball. I feel like this should deal anywhere from 50 to 150 instant damage and then boops the enemy back to like 5 to 15 meters depending on the chart.
Okay, I like that. This like gives you the ability to potentially hit some crazy combos if you do give them that boop ability and it stuns them. The combos with Absorbing Man could be insane.
Whenever I was making this, I feel like it would be better as a peel for your backline and kind of boop the enemy off your backline. I just feel like if it's stunned, it would absolutely wreck everyone. However, it is Rivals, and I don't see a world where they wouldn't add this stun ability. I mean, I like the idea.
I do.
So, yeah, I do think as of right now, with just the abilities I've covered so far, he does have a lot of combo potential. So his ultimate, Q, he will turn into a concrete form, receiving bonuses that he usually gets, like with the damage bonus, but without the debuffs this time, since it's a concrete form, and also because he's in sheer rage now. He will then proceed to spin to win with a 15-meter radius. Basically, if you've ever played Path of Exile, Diablo, any of those games, all of the warrior classes have like this really cool axe effect where like you just spin around with the axe. He'll basically do the same thing with his ball and chain, and then he'll proceed to do 175 damage for every hit, and it will also have a 5-meter boop. So every time you hit a character, it'll progressively boop them out of your ultimate. But I mean, 175 damage times 3, that's a fair bit of damage, and I think it's a good zoning tool.
Sure, knocking people off point, retake. I think it could be very, very, very useful.
Alright, and then next up we have his passives. Transmutate between concrete and normal form. The benefits being, in concrete form, you get a slight 3% damage reduction at a movement reduction of 5%. And in normal form, a slight movement buff of 5% and receive damage as normal.
Okay, so base form, he moves 5% faster. And I would, since it's passive, I would assume it's over time. So he goes into this concrete form.
What I was thinking is like, you start out in the concrete form, and the more damage you take, each time you take damage, like the concrete form chips off or chips away.
Okay, I like that. All right, so for my second character, I've picked Juggernaut as a Vanguard. For me, this was a no-brainer. I love Juggernaut. I love the whole concept of him. I love his powers. I love how he got his powers. So Juggernaut's bio is Juggernaut, Kane Marco, created by writer Stan Lee and artist and co-writer Jack Kirby. He first appeared in X-Men number 12 in July of 1965. Kane Marco is a regular human who is empowered by a gem belonging to the deity Sidorak, becoming a literal human Juggernaut. He possesses superhuman strength and durability and is virtually immune to most physical attacks. His helmet also protects him from mental attacks. Although not a mutant, Juggernaut has been featured as a prominent member of the Brotherhood of Mutants. He is also the stepbrother to Sir Charles Xavier, Professor X. So I love the fact that he is an X-Men villain, but he is not a mutant because he's powered by the Gem of Sidorak. So his primary fire is simple as can be. Juggernaut unleashes powerful punches upon foes, infinite ammo. He's just gonna keep going back and forth, right, left, keep punching. Just very similar to Hulk, which I would like to change somehow. I just don't know what it would be. So for Juggernaut's right click or secondary fire, Juggernaut will dash in a straight line in a chosen direction and cannot be stopped during this ability. At the end of the ability, Juggernaut leaps and stomps the ground, causing shockwave damage. Shockwave also knocks back enemies. You have to choose where you want to dash, and then at the end of the line, he'll jump up and land on the ground, and a shockwave will go out. It deals like I would say it deals as much damage as you are close to it. Closer you are, more damage it does, but it also knocks you back if you are right on top of it. So that is also another ability to take space. So for Juggernaut's shift ability, Juggernaut shields himself with his massive arms and walks down enemies. In this form, he takes reduced damage and is immune to CC. If it's kind of similar to Thing's dash, only Juggernaut is enormous and just covers himself with his arms and walks down the enemies. Like, that is literally it. It's kind of a
walk down. I assume this is gonna be slower.
Yes. Yeah, he can't go too fast in this form. Juggernaut's E ability is for 4 seconds. He grows larger and gains an attack buff. I didn't know Juggernaut can grow larger, but apparently he does. There's also not a lot more Juggernaut abilities to go off of. So this was kind of my last-ditch effort at an E. So for he pops E, 4 seconds, he grows bigger, gains an attack buff, and then he'll shrink back down a little bit. I would say he's not able to use any other ability in this state. I feel like that would kind of be overkill. So I guess it's just primary fire in this state.
There really is not much you could do for ability-wise for this guy. I mean, he's just kind of brute strength at its purest form.
For Juggernaut's ultimate, I have Juggernaut dashes 2 times. Each step he creates the same shockwave ability as his right click, and if enemies happen to fall into the path, Juggernaut deals damage along with a stun. So you'd have to direct hit them for it to be a stun. You can't move him like you can in Thing's shift ability, where you can run around and move. It'd basically be a more advanced version of your right click. You rush in, you pick a direction, and you pick another direction to dash at the end of your first one. This could be very useful, once again, in times where you need to recapture a point or recapture a payload. But also, if their healers are low, you can pop this ultimate and dash straight to the healers. So I think it's very useful for maybe like minimal diving their backline.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I'm more in love with the fact that we both chose Strategist and Vanguard so far.
Juggernaut's passive is, while using his right click or ultimate, Juggernaut destroys all breakable parts of the map he comes into contact with. Juggernaut, being an unstoppable force, literally cannot be stopped by almost anything. I would like to say anything, but I'll say almost anything because I'm not too well versed. He'll just break any parts of the map he comes into contact with, whether that be a bridge, the side of a wall, doesn't matter, it's going down. For his team-ups, Juggernaut has a team-up ability called Brotherhood of Mutants. His base health increases by 100, and Magneto now has a second use of either Metal Bulwark or Iron Bulwark, which is both of his bubbles. The second one being Crimson Tinted, representing Juggernaut's own Crimson Cosmos armor. I read up on this. Juggernaut can create a shield for himself. I think that would be too broken to add to this character, and I couldn't find a way to fit it into this character. Being that Magneto already creates bubbles and shields for people, I figured why not give him a second use of his bubble. Maybe save both your strategists, maybe save yourself and a strategist, who knows. I think this can come in handy and would make Magneto jump further into the meta than he already is. It would also make Juggernaut way more playable.
Yeah, I actually really like that one. That one's a good idea. All right, so the reason why we're doing this together is I think I have my next one is controversial between some people. I think a lot of people are going to want to see him as a DPS, but personally, I would rather have him as a strategist. And that character is none other than my character of choice and my favorite superpower, Quicksilver. I love speedsters. So Quicksilver, his bio, Pietro Django Maximoff, is a character who first appeared in the comic book Uncanny X-Men #4 and was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Oh, Quicksilver has the superhuman ability to move at great speeds in most depictions. He is a mutant, a human born with innate superhuman powers. First off, this is going to be really hard because, I mean, like, he technically has to be a melee character. But the way I get around this is I think his primary fire, basically what he would do is, like, send out a hyperspeed punch. Basically, he runs over to the enemy or allies and heals them, or comes back, or does damage and comes back instantaneously. Think Invisible Woman's projectiles, but this time it's like a full character almost. Obviously, this is going to be very hard to show in the game, but that's how I would think it would have to be.
You said it would look like, I'm reading here, it says it looks like Luna's shift ability.
Oh, to make it less visually disturbing, yeah.
Sure, because in my head, I was thinking more like Strange Portal, like you stand in one spot, you send out something and put it on a player, and then that happens and it comes back, but that would be way too much.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking it's more like, instead of like just a line, how Luna's ability is, it would be like a fist.
Okay.
Like a small hit scan fist, basically. Think like that.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's how this would work, or would look. Obviously, continuity-wise, like if this was actually in the comics or whatever, I feel like this would be stupid. He would just run over there, beat the shit out of him, and then be done with his day, you know, go on lunch break. But it's a game, so this is how we're going to get around it. So his right click, he's going to send out a speed copy in a straight line for 10 meters, and it can be stopped sooner by hitting right click again, and when the copy stops, it can be controlled for 4 seconds. If you've ever played Apex, think Mirage.
Okay, so it's more of a decoy than a deals damage type of thing?
Yes, this is completely a decoy and kind of like mess with the enemy type thing.
I get the vision. I understand a little bit.
So I think since he's a strategist, the copy can have like a healing radius almost. Think like Loki's beak, or what are they called? Runes. Think Loki's runes, but maneuverable. And the only problem is like he's not invincible inside it. The copy can be destroyed pretty easy. And I think the ability duration would be 7 seconds, and then his cooldown would be 15 seconds.
I like that, putting out a longer cooldown for it, because it is kind of a... I mean, it can also be used as an escape tool.
So next up we have his E. He has 2 of these. He throws out a bubble that slows enemies and damage over time, 15 HP per second, and speeds up allies and heals over time, total 100 HP. In 4 seconds. The ability activates whenever a player walks over the bubble, enemy or ally.
Okay, so this is like Jeff, only it also damages.
Yeah, it's basically Jeff, but also has the effect against enemies.
Okay, and like, where do the bubbles come from? Like what kind of bubble am I thinking about here?
Maybe like a static bubble. He like rubs his hands together real fast. I think I was thinking like, you know how the Flash has like lightning bolts or whatever?
Sure.
I think I was thinking somewhere along that.
The difference is Flash is connected to a Speed Force. So like,
Yeah.
Flash doesn't run so fast he generates lightning, to my understanding. He runs so fast he gets tapped into the Speed Force, and Speed Force is like, here, lightning rod.
Yeah, I think this ability would have to, like, somewhat make sense. Maybe, like, instead of little bubbles, he makes, like, little speed tornadoes or whatever.
I like that. That's really, 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 really cool.
Yeah, that would make more sense, and then it would make sense why enemies would walk over. Like they kind of get sucked in a little bit.
Yeah, it has a pull radius.
So next up, we got his shift ability. So this is like one of the strategists that are gonna have more abilities. His shift, I'm thinking like a Life Weaver pool, but instead it's Quicksilver. So he'll run over, grab your ally, and then move them to safety. Move them from danger in a straight line while dealing burst. Or while doing burst healing for 175 health.
Ooh. So what do you think about adding 2 uses of the shift? Because if say you had to jump up and grab a flyer, you can like shift up to the flyer, grab them, shift back down to the ground to bring them behind cover, and then reduce the amount of burst healing it gives.
I mean, I think it would work the same way, no? Because he can technically jump hella high. Because Quicksilver also has, like, superhuman athleticism.
So, but you said in a straight line, so, like, I'm imagining, like, if there's a flyer here, he'll, like, jump up and take them diagonal, rather than it going in an arch and him coming back down.
Have you played Blade yet?
I have not. I know what you're talking about already, though.
Ultimate, though?
Yeah.
If you see his ultimate, how it's like in like that like wall, basically, like anything in that area of effect gets maneuvered by it. I feel like it would be something similar to that. Maybe for flyers, it would like go all the way to the skybox or something. So like if someone's up there, he jumps up, grabs them, and takes them to safety. It would be like Life Weaver's pool. Like you would look at the enemy, or I mean ally, and decide if you want to pull them away or not. You know, so like he'd run over, jump, grab them, come back. Obviously, these are just fan-based ideas, so honestly, whatever Marvel Rivals devs decide to do is what they're going to decide to do anyway. So, next up for his ultimate that I gave him, I think what he should do is grab every ally and move them to safety. Think of a mix between Jeff and Adam ults, while healing for 250 HP per second, and also grants 100 overshield while moving.
Okay, so he's just grabbing the team and moving, rather than grabbing any enemy.
So basically, think like, you know how Cloak has her shadow form or whatever?
Sure.
You know how like she puts everyone in it for a second? I'm thinking it's something similar to that.
Let me tell you, if I have a Quicksilver ruin my ultimate by grabbing me out of, like, grabbing me in the middle of my Eye of Agamotto, I'm gonna tweak. I'm just gonna Alt F4 and open Roblox.
Anyway, okay, so next up we got his passives. I think he should get 5% increased movement speed while unharmed. Obviously, I feel like he should have this all the time, but that'd be kind of broken. But I feel like that's pretty fitting with his character. And then while the movement buff is active, he leaves a trail similar to Cap, and it heals for 25 HP per second.
This is like basically Luna, only her trail doesn't heal. So like, yeah. I think he needs to be faster than Luna.
If Luna's is 5%, then maybe he goes up to like 8, but he can't be much faster, or else it's just gonna fuck up your aim. Yeah, depending on like how good it would be, I feel like somewhere between 5 to 10% movement speed increase. But this is while unharmed too, so like if he's unharmed, his trail gives the heal. But if he's harmed, obviously the whole passive just stops.
Oh, right. I mean, all it really takes is one bullet. I think it would be good compensation, making him harder to hit. Because the rest of his kit doesn't seem like too egregiously broken. Alright, those are the characters we want in Marvel Rivals. We have so many more characters on this document. I think we have 4 more right now, and we're still brainstorming, creating more. So dropping a like and a comment on this video will show us that you guys do want more of this. I think the ones we got up next are way better than the ones we even did in this episode, so I'm very excited to show those off. Who do you guys want in Marvel Rivals? Drop them in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. We may even grab it out of the comments and make a whole ability list for them if we're short on ideas. Like I said, we do have more. We do have more characters that we made. We're very excited to share them with you guys. But if you guys can like, comment, subscribe, it'll show us that you want more of this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Peace.